Yo, what's good? What's up, y'all? How we doing? How we doing today? Ty Butler in the house on this chilly Monday to start February. First and foremost, shout out my man Michael K. Happy birthday to the great Michael K. I think it's 65? 65 years old for the Caster. So hit him up, man. Flood his mentions. Y'all be hating on him. So show some love today to the great Michael K on his I think it's his 65th birthday. Don't quote me on that, but shout out Michael K. We are here on this Monday morning, still waiting for the sun at some point to melt this snow here in New York City. But so Puxatawny Phil say we've got 6 more weeks of winter, and that does not make me feel great. I was talking to someone at the Knicks game last night who covers the Lakers, and he was complaining about the weather, and I had that moment where, in the midst of all the complaining, and we'll get to sports in a moment, you do feel like, we have been spared so many different winters. Like, I can't remember the last time it was this bad. And we've had warmer temperatures, which I don't know is great for the overall health of our planet. But we haven't had like snowstorms. It hasn't been like this frigid in a minute. So if we have to take our medicine for just one winter, and it means the next 5, like, we're good, then I guess sign me up for that, right? But yeah, it's cold outside. I've got the half marathon coming up uh in about a month from now, which, by the way, before we get to the body of the show, I want to encourage y'all, to help a brother out. I'll put the link in the chat for those of you who are interested, but I want to uh let you guys know that on behalf of the Sips and Kicks Foundation, I am running the 2026 United New York City Half Marathon that is going to take us from Prospect Park over the Brooklyn Bridge, FDR, up Times Square, and into Central Park. So from Prospect Park to Central Park, I'm running 13.1 miles. And I want to encourage you guys to get in on the experience by donating to the Sips and Kicks Foundation. This is a foundation that has been put in place to assist children who are in need by providing health benefits in the form of some sips, so nutritional value drinks, smoothies, and then some kicks, and engaging in sports. So shout out to all the kids out there who are reaping the harvest of the benefits of Sips and Kicks Foundation. The link is on my Twitter. So if you go to my Twitter at Ty D Butler, and if you want to be a part of this experience, where once again I've teamed up with Sips and Kicks Foundation to help kids for the New York City Half Marathon. Every donation is supporting an incredible cause. I am going to try to put the link in the chat here, and I'm going to pump it every show, just because why not do something cool for the kiddies, right? We all love the kids. Let me know. I don't know if that's showing up in the stream the way it should. So let me try to get on Twitter and see. Let me know, y'all, if this link is showing up the way that it should. Just because I want to get people active and involved in a pretty cool thing. So let me know if it's showing up on your screen the way that it should in the chat before we get to the Knicks conversation, that I think is going to be fun because, a lot of people have kind of lost their minds with the Giannis stuff. And, I'm a course corrector. I like to correct behavior. So let me know if you guys can, if it's showing up in the chat for you to be able to participate in the Sips and Kicks Foundation. I don't know that it is, but just if you can, let me know. But I don't think you can click it. That's the thing. So here's the thing. Just go to my Twitter. It is pinned to the top of my profile that I'm running the 2026 United Half fundraiser. So just click the link, and if you are inclined to do so, submit a donation. 48 days left. Submit a donation, and help a brother out. Ty D Butler, that is where you can find me all over the socials, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. So I was at the Knick game last night, and people who know me know I'm a Laker fan. So it was disheartening to watch my team suffer that type of second half collapse. And it's happened twice now in the last 5 days. Or they did that against Cleveland where they got smoked, and then the Knicks just turned up the pressure on them in the second half. Uh, their defense, I give the Knicks credit. The much maligned defense that for 2 months we complained about, playing a lot better as of late. And it was a very impressive win for the Knicks. So I had to sit there and, enjoy, if you will, the Knick contingent celebrating at my expense. 112-100 was the final score. And I thought this was first, and I talked about this um with last night. I was like, "Yo, there's no buzz." Like, I expected it's Sunday night basketball, so the NBA is trying to do this thing with NBC, which, by the way, I love that you got Bob Costas involved. All of the pregame hosts are in the garden, so it has that, like, big feel to it. I saw Maria Taylor, I saw Vince Carter, I saw T-Mac and Mello. I saw, Tarico, Reggie, the whole gang, they were on the court. So it had that feel to it where it's like, this is a big deal. But nothing contradicts big deal NBA like having all of these other games on at the same time. If we're going to have this be a thing, like baseball, right? Sunday night baseball, the NFL, Sunday night football. If you want to give us Sunday night basketball, it's got to be a standalone exclusive game. So all the eyeballs are zeroed in on what actually ended up being a really good game between the Lakers and the Knicks. Both teams are, kind of in it in their respective conferences. So, yeah, I wasn't able to watch the broadcast. Obviously, I was at the game, but come on, y'all. You can't have other games on at the same time and then expect people to feel like this is, the place to be. So anyway, just on the game itself, you guys all watched it. Knicks dominated in that second half. I thought that the biggest reasons why the Knicks won was three-point shooting. The Lakers were atrocious and the Knicks were pretty exceptional. And this was all despite Jalen and Cat just did not play well. I thought like Cat has kind of been, and we'll get to him more in a moment. Cat has kind of been hanging around this like C minus area of his productivity. That was not an A plus Jalen Brunson game, but they were good enough. And then the Knicks got contributions from everywhere. OG, I thought was incredible. Yo, Josh Hart, when he hits threes and you feel it in the building too, his threes almost count like fours because defenses understand you got to watch out for Cat, Bridges, OG, Brunson. Obviously, those are guys you got to pay attention to. Shamit, who was incredible last night, got to watch out for him. But you need to allow you got to give up something. And that something should be Josh Hart threes. So when he goes 3 or 4 last night, I know it only counts as 9 points, but it felt like more than that because there are momentum threes. That's a guy you are, if you're a defense, cool with taking them, but if he makes them, they're just so gut wrenching. And so that's like one of the dimensions of this Knicks offense that just gets completely unlocked when he's on the floor. If he's hitting those threes, they just feel like, even if it's second quarter, like daggers, like backbreakers, because you just don't expect him to make them. And last night he did. So the 3-point shooting was a huge, huge deal. And for the Knicks, their defense in the second half was just exceptional. You held the Lakers to 18 fourth quarter points. LeBron and Luka. I didn't think Luka played that well. I know he ends up with 30 points, 15 rebounds, 8 assists. So the stat line looks phenomenal. And he had some tough shots in that game. But I didn't think he played well. He was like short on a lot of those, teardrop and jumpers early. LeBron, I thought, was fine defensively. At 41, like there are videos going viral of him not getting back on defense and people making fun of him. He's 41. There are certain blown assignments that just drives you nuts, just because not only are the Knicks capitalizing off of it, but LeBron's like doing his thing where he's like blaming other guys for not rotating when it's LeBron who missed the assignment. But those were the only two guys that I thought played well last night. Aiton was fine. He just sometimes looks like a deer in the headlights. But give credit to the Knicks, who have now won 6 straight games. They've kind of like weathered this storm, because remember, after that loss to Dallas, where they just got embarrassed, it was their second 4-game losing streak in 2 weeks, and they had lost 9 of 11 games. You're thinking the sky is falling. Now, all of a sudden, we've opened the doors to the trade rumors, and it's like, well, this could get ugly pretty quickly. But since then, they've responded with some impressive wins. Thrown in there, you got the Nets and the Kings and the Blazers, but very impressive win on the road in Philly to beat the Sixers, who had beaten them 2 times over. Embiid was phenomenal in that game. They held Maxey in order. But, beating the Sixers on the road, going to Toronto on the second of a back-to-back and just throttling the Raptors, who they were fighting, seating, positioning there with. So I thought that was impressive. And then the Lakers, say what you want, they came into last night's game 11 games over 500. They still have Luka and LeBron. It was a game the Lakers, it felt like, for 2.5 quarters were in control of, and the Knicks ended up giving them the business. So they win by 12, and now they've turned a lot of the angst into excitement, because winners of 6 straight, you're 31-18, and you are the second seed in the Eastern Conference. The Celtics do keep winning, and everyone in the East is winning, right? Like the Raptors, Cavs, Sixers, all winning. So this winning streak was very important, because the flip side of that is, if instead of being 6-0 in their last 6 games, they're 3-3, they were playing team. Like, they're in that play-in area. So, we can say all we want about how the regular season doesn't matter, but when you are expected to, at the very least, win your conference, these are the types of games that are important and also help establish, like, this, we've kind of weathered the storm, and guys, are confident because of um, what's happening on the floor that has quieted some of the noise. And so, really good win last night for the New York Knicks, which brings us to the Giannis stuff. So I saw that Wendy was on, and I'm going to pull it up for you guys on the screen. Wendy was on Get Up, and he pretty much said, like, the Knicks, not that they're not interested in Giannis, but let me pull it up here. Here we go. Yeah, the Knicks believe in this team. They're not showing that aggression to get Giannis right now, and I think that's because they like this team. That is Windhorse on the Knicks potentially going after Giannis. And part of me feels like this is one of those, all right, the price to get him is exorbitant. So if we float out there that we are kind of moving on right now, does it like re-engage Milwaukee in a sense of like they bring down whatever the price is for Giannis, and you can try to get him by Thursday? Or it could legitimately be that this 6-game win streak was just what the doctor ordered, and the Knicks, who very well, should like their team, because it was good enough for us to pick them to get to the finals this year, have seen just enough over the last couple of weeks to say, all right, we have crisis averted. Like, we know we're very talented. We know that if we just look at the rosters across the Eastern Conference, we're one of, if not the best. And we were struggling not because we weren't good enough. It's just, injuries happened. We got caught falling asleep at the wheel. There was some locker room just stuff going on that I found and still find to be concerning. But just on paper, we are good enough to win the East. And Mike Brown, who was in his first year, had some adjustments to make. Look, Jordan Clarkson's not in the rotation anymore. Yabusele sounds like he's going to be out of here. So if we just operate within the margins and improve this roster, like, are we good enough to win a championship? And maybe they're asking themselves that question, and the answer that they've arrived at is yes, we're good enough to win a championship. Um, I still, and I talked about this on TV on SNY on Saturday night. I'm still making the Giannis trade. Like, if all I have to give up, if all I've got to do to make that happen is part with Bridges and Cat, I'm making the trade. Like, I have to make that trade. If that's what I gotta give up, I'm doing it. And if you're a Knicks fan, weigh in the chat, um, if you agree with me. Weigh in the chat. Do you agree with me? Because I know a lot of people are of the mindset, like, you just don't disrupt what this team has going for it just to make a swing for Giannis. It reeks of desperation, and a team that right now shouldn't be all that desperate is not one that should make that move. And I hear you from that standpoint. But as I said on TV the other day, we're talking about a two-time league MVP. We're talking about a champion. We are talking about a defensive player of the year, a guy who instantly become the player to put your uniform on. I'm making that I'm just making that deal. It has to happen. It has to happen. I'm making that deal. I'm making that deal. I'm doing that. And I also don't understand this idea that, like, it sets you back. Well, for this season, it's like, because I've heard people say that, like, for this season, it sets you back because you're gutting your roster. Trading Cat and Bridges is not gutting your roster. Cat's an all-star. Cat's an all-NBA guy. Giannis is better. And Mikal Bridges is fine, right? Like, there are reasons why for most of last season, right before we got to the Celtics series, where, he had his, like, coming out moment with those steals to seal games 1 and 2, the upsets. We were talking about, man, 5 first-round picks for this guy. Like, there's a reason those conversations were happening. Those were not by accident. Um, quickly, it looks like I'm having some issue with my camera. So, let me just try to fix that real quick. I'm gonna change my camera. Do not be alarmed by this. Changing my camera. And now it's coming from underneath me. So we will fix this and let me know if that looks better. I gotta work on my primary camera. Does that look better to you guys? Or does it still appear like grainy? Hit me up in the chat. This is what we do, man. We workshop things on the fly. Does that still appear to be grainy, or is that let me know, y'all. I wanna hear from you guys. Just do me a favor and let me know if we're getting a grainy picture or am I looking better? But as I wait for your answers there, and obviously this is not the ideal setup, guys. Like, we will improve this. But for right now, just because I'm having some issues with my other camera, I wanna make sure you guys are able to see me clearly, um, because you are owed that. As far as, like, the whole gutting your roster thing, if it's 2 players, I don't think that's gutting your and you're adding the best player in the conference. And so that's why it's a deal you make, man. Like, you make that trade if it's available to you. Now, if it's you don't have the assets, there are better pieces out there that Milwaukee wants, and you can't get it done, it come down to, like, you making the decision, like, you tried your best, Sure, I get that, but y'all gonna sit here and tell me, like, you don't want Giannis? I just think that that's a um, ridiculous assessment. Alright, uh Kevin Zwicker says, "Crossing my fingers, Giannis stays past the deadline. Wanna see this unit rock the rest of the season with Giannis option available later." I understand that. It's a risky proposition because other teams can get involved. I'm actually hoping and man, I should have done this last night when I was talking to a couple of Lakers reporters. Um, Maybe I'll hit him up, because I meant to ask this question, like, just for my own personal benefit. Like, there's some smoke with Giannis to the Lakers this offseason? Maybe. I'm not saying Wendy is lying, but the Knicks under Leon historically have moved in silence. I don't think anyone really knows what they're cooking up until after the deadline actually passes. Sure, he's also as plugged in as anyone in the NBA. Todd, you're crazy. We don't want LeBron. All right, so here's a take that I had, and I put this on Twitter at Ty D Butler. I had this at Ty D Butler. Um, had this on Twitter earlier. I said LeBron ending his career makes the most sense. And this is where Gerald is getting that from. He said him ending his career with the Knicks makes no sense. He did it again last night where he raved about the Madison Square Garden experience and how much he loves it, and he's done this his entire career, and Knick fans get annoyed by it because they're like, "Bro, how many opportunities did you have to come play at the Garden 41 times a season as opposed to just 1?" So they feel like they're getting trolled. They feel like you you talk about how much you appreciate what this arena means from an entertainment standpoint, from a historical standpoint, and all of those things, and yet we remember when you were with the Cavs, you're playing the spin the bottle thing on the bench, you and Kevin Love and Kyrie Irving. Like, we don't find that funny. Here's my retort, guys. The only to me, the only way that the LeBron to the Knicks thing happens is if they don't win the title this year, which I don't think they will end up doing. So if they get sent home in the conference finals and LeBron decides, "I don't wanna play with the Lakers anymore. I wanna win another title before I retire, but I'm not doing the ring chasing thing. I'm not going to Houston. I'm not going to, like, OKC on a veterans minimum. I'm not going to Boston. I want to go somewhere where I can accomplish 2 things. It's a place I would love to play, but also it gives me the opportunity to win a championship. The Knicks check those boxes, right? And if you're a Knicks fan, I like, why would you be opposed to LeBron in his career playing for your team when it could help you win the championship? I just don't understand that. Is it because you're so turned off by him throughout his career having opportunities to come play for the Knicks and deciding he was good? When would that time have been? 2010 when the Knicks were awful? The Knicks have just become good. Let's not act like there's been this long runway of credibility and consistency and winning. They were a dumpster fire for the majority of his career. So if he now decides, "Yeah, it's an attractive place to play. I wanna take my talents there and help them win a championship," it's a perfect marriage because he then and Knick fans already got no love for MJ. They respect him, but they got no love for him. So it's like, "Alright, you came and did something a lot of people were afraid to do, and that over that proverbial." And if he wins the championship in this city with that fan base, he is now face of one of the most important championships in New York sports history. That fan base, that organization, this player, who is that accomplished and decides that's where I'm ending my career, it's like one of the greatest stories in sports history, and he's doing that, and so, if I'm a Knicks fan and I don't wanna I always get annoyed when people tell fans how to feel, so I am not trying to proctor, like, your fandom. I am not trying to be the fandom bouncer or instruct you on how to feel. What I'm saying is, if it were me, if I were a Knicks fan and I saw that dude who last night, even at age 40, was able to give you 22, 5, and 6 in 35 minutes, who is still really good going to the All-Star game. I know it's controversial, and I didn't know why. If I'm able to have that guy alongside Brunson and OG, like, if that's my I know we're not big 3 era focused anymore, but if I've got Brunson, LeBron, and OG, that's my squad rolling into next year, I'm with that, and this is like, who would I rather have, Giannis or LeBron? I'm taking Giannis, but if the Giannis trade doesn't happen and LeBron's just sitting there like, "Yeah, I would love to play for the Knicks," I don't see why that's not an option or something you would entertain. Chauncey 9805 says, "Giannis has played 400 minutes, with the traditional center since 2020, always has played with the stretch big. Giannis is a Knick and Mitchell Robinson, what are you going to say?" When space becomes a dumpster fire, it's something you have to figure out, but I also don't think because of all the shooting the Knicks have, it becomes that big of an issue. You are obviously going to have to stagger those guys' minutes, and it's not like Mitch is playing a ton anyway. It's not like Mitch is we tip the ball up, he's giving you 35 minutes a night. So, yeah, you are right that, Brook Lopez and then what they tried to do with Miles Turner, those are stretch bigs, but you're really going to sit here and say, "I would have loved to have one of the 30 greatest players in NBA history, a two-time league MVP," but man, the potential of him and Mitchell Robinson on the court together just gives me so much pause. I'm good on the trade. I think that's a ridiculous and you saying that to yourself, I would have you hear how ridiculous it sounds. Yeah, I wanted to make sure I was showing up cool on you guys' screen. I gotta get my camera fixed. I don't know what's going on with the Brio, uh, but you gotta admit I am going to try to rectify. So that's why now you see me coming from a lower angle. That's a bit grainy. And now I'm looking back on Twitter and it's still grainy. So is it the Wi-Fi? I don't know what's going on. Might have to hit Spectrum up to see what's going on, but, in my app, it doesn't look bad. So I gotta figure that part out. Back to the Brio. Back to the Brio. Where can Giannis get traded to that's a threat to the Knicks? Miami's a threat to the Knicks. Miami is a threat to the Knicks. Some people are gonna say the roster is not good enough. It's Miami. They'll be able to put together a roster good enough. And it's not just about this year, it's about what you can do in free agency, and via the trade to help build a team around Giannis in Miami. South Beach is a place people wanna go play, so I think that's a threat. I also would think that even if it's not the Eastern Conference, like, he goes to Houston, if that ends up winning a championship, that's a threat because you're still going and it might not be in your conference, but you're still gonna have to beat that team to win the title, and if he goes somewhere, end up winning a championship, then we're going to forever look back on this as a missed opportunity for the Knicks. So that's my point. It's a missed opportunity for the Knicks. Yeah, I don't know what's up with the grainy video. It's kind of annoying me right now. But we'll have to figure that out. Let's go back down. Maybe this looks a little bit better. Yeah, so, anywhere he goes that not the Knicks end up winning championships. is a quote unquote threat to the Knicks. So that's what I was saying. That's what I would say about that. Let's continue to roll through your comments. Move closer to the mic, it's cutting in and out. Appreciate you. Yeah, I might have a Wi-Fi situation going on here, which, you know, leads me to close to the um, I got Knick fans in my mentions saying they don't want they don't want LeBron. Like, what's wrong? Yo, here's a question. Would you guys rather not I give you 2 options. One option is you win the title. The one option is you win the title, but LeBron's the Finals MVP. The second option is you don't win the championship, LeBron's not on the team. Which one would you rather? You just don't want LeBron getting all the credit? Is that what, like, you fear the most when it comes to this whole, like, LeBron potentially going to New York? I sat there last night watching whatever's left of his career, and I'm thinking, as much as I love the Lakers, they're just not close to contending right now. The roster construction is just not ideal. It's just not. And the Reeves, LeBron, Luka trio is never gonna make sense, and if I'm the Lakers, with all due respect to LeBron, I'm prioritizing Reeves and Luka because at this point, Luka's the better player, and Reeves is younger, and he has all-star level potential, so maybe I can build around it. LeBron's got a big contract, and as much as I love him the player, and I still think he's awesome, I have to prioritize that duo just because I don't have the assets right now to just make a big trade that could send us over the top. Like, if you could like, if you told me this offseason the Lakers could somehow swing a Giannis trade, but keep LeBron and Luka, I don't think that that's possible, but if that could happen, then sure. I would prioritize that. At this point, it just doesn't feel like it's on the table. Which is why I am looking at the Knicks, and obviously the Cavs have to be another team, who comes to mind as far as, where he could end his career. Imagine LeBron as the first player off the bench. It's never gonna happen. That's never gonna LeBron would retire before he goes to a team and has to come off the bench. I just don't think he's going to be that guy. Like, he's not gonna be the clone where you clearly see this is a significantly diminished player and he's just trying his best to get that last championship. I don't think LeBron wants that to be his lasting image. I don't think he wants that to be, his final act. I see LeBron deciding, "I'm still very good. I'm still very good in a sense of, like, at a point in my career where I'm good enough to win a championship, but if I've gotta go be the 6th man in, like, Oklahoma City or come off the bench in Denver to relieve Aaron Gordon for, 15 minutes a night. I just don't see LeBron doing that. I don't see him doing that. Continue to hop in the comments. Wanna hear from y'all. We are having a blast here today, talking both Giannis and to the, New York Knicks, and if possible. Is that something you guys would be interested? If that is possible, would that be something you guys are interested in? And I promise you, and I apologize, I'm rambling a little bit, Brittany, but that's something I gotta work on the rest of today. Um, hit me up at Ty D Butler. And I also said, um, the Giannis move is one I would make this week prior to the trade deadline. If I got a chance to get Giannis, I'm doing that. I'm doing that. I'm doing that. What worries me about Cat, and I teased earlier we were gonna talk about him a little bit more. What worries me about Cat, and this is how, like, it becomes a revelation. Y'all got me now? My fault, y'all. Sound went out. I'm having some Wi-Fi issues, it feels like. But I appreciate you guys. I appreciate y'all. Um, but yeah, we just corrected that. Let me know you guys can hear me. Hit me up in the chat. Um, damn, I was going off just then. That was a great take. That was a great take. An absolutely phenomenal take. And y'all didn't hear any of it. That's crazy. That was a great take. And y'all didn't hear a wo alright, so let's, back to the cat stuff is what I'm talking about, and I apologize for, uh, visual issues and then some of the audio stuff we got going on here. But what I was saying was, sometimes it becomes a revelation how people actually feel about cat. Because as I'm doing the TV show and the question comes up, Cat's had 42 rebounds in his last 2 games. Do you feel like he's turning the corner? Should fans be encouraged? And I'm thinking to myself, "Hold up now. 42 rebounds, that's incredible. Shout out to him. Excellent." But we are talking about the 2nd best player on a team trying to win a championship, who once again was named an All-Star, who last year was 3rd team All-NBA, one of the most talented players in the league. And we are starting our Karl Anthony Towns conversation with how many rebounds he got. Not that the rebounds aren't valuable. Yes, that goes a long way to helping your team win. But when we leading the conversation about a guy getting paid $50,000,000 with how awesome he is at rebounding, then that tells us all we need to know about how we view this guy. It's just not getting it done. It's not good enough. And again, the rebounding stuff is incredible. It's awesome. But once again, last night I'm at the game watching him struggle to stay out of foul trouble because of silliness. The goofy cat behavior, and I love Towns, man. He is tremendously talented, but I don't think it's a coincidence that a lot of his struggles have come once those trade rumors surfaced, and I get players to varying degrees are going to be affected by something like that because, I mean, your whole life is being uprooted, right? Like, we look at these guys and we pretend it's a video game. You can just make a trade and it's just like, "Oh, voila." Nah, man, like, livelihoods are affected, so I understand that part. But you're a professional, man. This is the business. These things happen, and so it's also why, like, when people talk about is like, is it fair to say once we get past Thursday, Booker has been restored, you know, emotionally, he's back, like, he's good? And my answer to that question is no, because here's the thing, man, once we get past Thursday, all that means is you're not getting traded this season. You can still get traded in the offseason. So how much of the potential impact of that weighing on you to where it affects you in these games? The Knicks fans have shown they're already running out of patience with this dude, and now you're being floated around in trade rumors. No, I don't think us just simply getting past Thursday to where he still remains on the team is like the end of this conversation, because that's just gonna get punted until the offseason, and every playoff game, high level pressure, high intensity, that's going to be on your mind. "Oh, is this the last playoff game I'm playing in a Knicks uniform because I'm about to get traded for Giannis? If we don't win this series, does it mean I'm outta here?" So, no, I don't think we've seen the end of the Giannis conversation, and I also believe that we are going to, continue to talk about this, and it's gonna continue to affect him. There's something off with Cat, like that something weird going on there, and that's not going away. Hit me up in the comments at Ty D Butler. Once again, I wanna direct you guys before we get on outta here, and we're gonna be doing this a lot. I am planning on Thursday being on here throughout, uh throughout the day, but specifically into the trade deadline at 3 p.m., just so we can, in real time, together as a family, react to everything that's happening, and, the Knicks will make some moves, I think, maybe not blockbuster trades, but I did hear Jaren Jackson Jr. is, someone to watch out for. I did hear that. Someone said that to me last night, and so, uh, exciting time because you have a team that could win a championship, and whether it be a significant needle moving blockbuster trade or like some ancillary pieces added, operating within the margins, it is going to be, an entertaining, uh, trade deadline for the Knicks and their fans, so we'll be here to talk about it. I wanna once again direct people, and we'll wrap up with some of your Knick comments. So hit me up in the chat with your Knick comments. I wanna be able once again, I'm gonna continue to plug this. I'm looking for people to, tap in, and help your boy out. I am partnering with the Sips and Kicks Foundation, for the 2026 New York City, United Half Marathon. So if you go to my profile on Twitter, Ty D Butler, you'll see the fundraiser link. 13.1 miles from Prospect Park to Central Park on March 16th. Every mile and every donation supports an incredible cause. If you can, please donate. So that's the fundraisers, uh, dot, nyrr.org/Tyreek-Butler. So you can go to my Twitter page and find it. I'm gonna throw it on my IG in my bio as well. Any donation is, welcome, and it is for an excellent cause. Sips and Kicks Foundation does a tremendous job, in helping underprivileged children and children who are, in need have fresh, healthy food to eat and a chance to play soccer. So here's a mission to nourish under-resourced elementary and middle school children. We got fresh fruit, vegetable smoothies, and it serves as an inspiration, to help them get going, whatever their life pursuit is, whether that be sports, but even if it's not sports, just having smoothies and, drinks made of nutritional value. We wanna see our kids who are not necessarily in certain communities getting what they need, that resource, and Sips and Kicks provides that. So I've partnered up with them for the 2026 United Half Marathon, and, I'm hoping that you guys can pull up and sow seeds of donation, uh, for the Sips and Kicks Foundation, and once again, that is found on my Twitter profile, at Ty D. Butler. It is pinned to the profile, so if you are someone who's able to donate, please do so. I've got people in my mentions mad at the idea of me saying LeBron finishing his career with the Knicks makes so much sense. I can't understand that. It just doesn't register with me how you can have that opinion. Cool KT13 says, "Knicks playing well now, players doing well. Should they sell high now because I'm tired of these cold streaks?" Oh, here's the thing, man, and I always remember this. You go back to 2016, and this is one of my favorite analogies because I think it's perfect. And it was so beneficial for the Yankees that this happened. Back in 2016, ahead of the trade deadline, Cashman did like a reveal who you are, reveal yourself assessment, or should I say, um, call to action for the Yankees, right? Like they had been middling, struggling, and it was hard to, after the year before, they didn't win a playoff game. They're now kind of mediocre in 2016, and this was like a reveal yourself moment for the Yankees in a weekend series against the Tampa Bay Rays, and they got swept. And after they got swept, Cashman sent a lot of them boys packing, right? Chapman got traded. Andrew Miller got traded. And so the Yankees were able to get rid of a lot of guys who were not part of their future and then call up the young cats. Gary Sanchez, we saw Aaron Judge, right? And this was prompted by them getting swept, and it was like the best thing that could happen. Why I bring that up is because obviously the Knicks are not at that low, right? Like they're not struggling to the point where they will be sellers at the deadline. But why I bring that up is because this is an excellent response to what was a tumultuous time right before the deadline. You win 6 straight games, which sends a message to that front office. We are for real. Like, the team that before the season we thought could contend for a championship still exists in that locker room. For whatever reason, we struggled. We lost 9 of 11 games. There were some injuries. There was a little bit of chirping behind the scenes about we over me. Like, there was some rumblings going on that egos have become a problem in that locker room, but a 6-game winning streak, which includes W's, are very impressive, um, against the Sixers, against the Raptors, and last night against the Lakers. Got some impressive wins, got some blowouts against the Nets and the Blazers and the Kings, like teams you should beat. But 3 of those wins at least are impressive. So now you've won 6 straight. You're the 2 seed in the Eastern Conference, and we are back to being believers that this team could go on some type of a run, which is perfect because it sends a message to the front office, invest in us. We have what it takes to get to the promised land. And if you are a believer in that, this was the best thing that could have happened. On the flip side, if you don't think the Knicks are a championship contender and you were hoping for them to pull the trigger on this Giannis trade, you're like, "Man, not that I was rooting for my team to lose, but would it have been the worst thing in the world for us to, go 3 and 3 so that there's a sense of urgency at the deadline, and now instead of standing pat, we can pull up, uh, and make this move?" So, that's what the mental battle is. Like, are we all the way back? Are we sure that what we're watching, our eyes aren't lying to us? Or is it that, no, they really are who we expected them to be, and that is one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference, and as good of a chance as anyone, to go to the finals. Toddy Butler, nobody better at 32. Turning 33 at the end of the month, man. 25 days away, crazy. Appreciate the love, Spike. Towns is still playing like a $50 million Hartenstein. I don't know. So I guess you intended this to be a shot at Towns. Interestingly enough, we did see Hartenstein could be on the trade block, which doesn't make sense if you're Oklahoma City. I get like you got to shed some salary because of all these guys you got to pay coming up. But isn't that something you do in the offseason? Like, why? If you have a chance, you just won the title, run it back into the offseason, and really have to make some moves because Hartenstein does have some salary that might not be desirable on this player option for next year. But that's not a move you make at the deadline. But I did see this moving around. Hartenstein uh, could be on the block. And I think if you're OKC, like, you just throw this out there just so you can see if, like, there's some Godfather offer that you're just like, "Man, this is too good to pass up." Hartenstein's got a $28 million player option for next year, and the Thunder are gonna have to start paying a bunch of guys. DiVincenzo, could he be on the move? Wouldn't you love that if you're a Knicks fan, you can get Hartenstein and DiVincenzo back with this group? Like, we just say goodbye to Towns and Bridges, and we just bring Hartenstein and DiVincenzo back. Knicks fans would love that. Knicks win the East if they avoid both the Celtics and the Pistons. It's not gonna happen. Detroit is the real deal. Detroit is going to be the 1 seed, um, and the only way and this is where things could take a turn. I don't wanna say for the worse, but, here is a path that I would say is not optimal for the Knicks. Like, the standings right now are Pistons, Knicks, Celtics, 1, 2, 3, which means the Knicks in round 1 playing the Sixers. I would pick them to win that series. Paul George just got suspended, but that's a tough series, and if you're a Knicks fan, you know that's a tough series. Even if you win in 6, it's a tough first round series. You win 50 plus games or, uh, you're in a date with the Sixers. Actually, it would be the Heat, right? The Heat, um, if the Heat get Giannis, but the Sixers could very well my point is the Sixers could very well be your first round matchup, and even if you're picking the Knicks to win that series, you know it's a tough one. Round 2 means you get the winner of whoever, it's Celtic winner of Celtics Cavs. That's your second round match. Then you get past that, and you're in a dogfight with Detroit, who remember, a lesser version of this Pistons team took the Knicks to 6 games last year. Their issue was Jalen Brunson last year was the best closer in basketball, and he packed them up in game 6, but that was a series this close to going 7, a game 7 that the Knicks would have won at the Garden, but nonetheless, a game 7 that it's dicey. That's how close that series was. So now a better version of the Pistons well, I guess I heard are gonna be in on Michael Porter Jr. as another scorer, shooter that they can add to that group. A Pistons team that now has home court advantage, and we saw what they did to the Knicks. They faced them a couple Mondays ago in Detroit, blasted them. Now, they didn't win any home games in that series last year, but better version of the Pistons, I would say, um, it is highly unlikely you're going to be able to avoid both of those teams, but you obviously would sign up for playing neither of them, and I just don't think that's gonna happen. I had fun with you guys today. Appreciate you joining the show. Once again, I do want to plug, the foundation, Sips for Kicks. Go to my Instagram page, go to my Twitter page. It's in my bio. It's pinned to my profile. I'm teaming up with the Sips and Kicks Foundation to help raise money for underprivileged kids who need resources, healthy nutrition, and the ability to get involved with some sports. And doing that, I am teaming up with Sips and Kicks with the 2026 United Half Marathon. So all donations are welcome to that foundation. I appreciate you guys for joining the show. Yes, Spike, I did enjoy the game last night. Not in love with the result, but it was fun, fun atmosphere. NBC did an incredible job. I obviously didn't watch the broadcast, but to see them on location with their entire crew was awesome. The energy was immaculate. I thought like the game lacked buzz in that first half. Once the Knicks got it cooking in the third quarter and the fourth quarter, it was awesome. LeBron had the big dunk that got the crowd um, to his feet. Apparently, Reggie went viral for his reaction, and then the Knick fan, who was just like, "Reggie, what are you doing sitting behind them?" But yeah, it was a fun game to be a part of. Cool. KC 13 says Pistons are sort of following the same path that the Cavs last year. A little bit different, because the Ca and people get this wrong. The Cavs didn't really choke in the playoffs last year. They were injured. They were injured. DeAndre Hunter just got traded, but he hurt his wrist in that series. And then, of course, you had, injuries to did Mobley end up getting hurt in that series? I think Mobley might have gotten hurt in that series as well. He wasn't 100%. I think he was 100% in that series, but yeah, the injuries bit them. And then you had Darius Garland, who was playing on a toe so bad it required surgery in the offseason that caused him to miss the start of this year. So the Cavs, like, people threw the Cavs choking. Listen, man, like, they got hurt. Like, if the Knicks fan is able to use injuries as an excuse 2 years ago against the Pacers, then the Cavs can do the same thing. Cavs can do the same thing. Alright, hit me up on Twitter @TyDButler, Instagram as well. I appreciate you guys. Holla at your boy. Deuce.